The less casual gaming. The less casual gaming. The less casual gaming. The less casual gaming.
Mo?
That's the button I hit.
Mo?
That's how we stop the
Mo?
the nuclear meltdown, right? You hit Mo.
I've got the image of when Homer gets jealous of Mo and then all he hears is Mo.
Mo.
Going outside to mow the lawns.
Why don't we go and mow the Mo? Yeah.
I'm going outside to stalk Lenny and Carl. Don't. Anyway, hello. You are listening to Thoughtless Casual Gaming with Brett and Jace. You are forgiven for thinking you were mistaken and you've tuned in for some crap from somebody else, but no, you've tuned in for crap from us.
Yeah.
We are a Geelong-based podcast where we play some games badly and then talk shit about them.
Or
and that's what we do.
We play some game badly and then talk about 90 Simpsons episodes. One of the two.
Ooh, let's do that.
I could do that. That's honestly, there is a lot of information that has been pushed out of my brain by 90 Simpsons episodes.
Space Coyote.
Oh, this is the best. We should totally form a band and just write songs based on... Anyway.
I'm pretty sure it's been done.
Everything's been done. Generally by the Simpsons.
Fallout Boy? No. Let's not form that band. So it's been a little while. We've been trying to get together with absolutely no effort, so it hasn't worked. But since we recorded, what have you been up to, Jace?
Stuff.
Yay! I like stuff.
I'm going to say stuff. I feel like there was stuff. I'm looking at the notes I have in front of me, and most of it, again, just is on purchased.
That's stuff.
I mean, that's definitely doing stuff. So what has happened? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Well, all right, let's talk about the watching things because that's a relatively short list. I have been binging Titans pretty hard, well, as much as I can to get up to speed. So I've gone through the first 10 episodes of Titans.
Yep. What are your thoughts so far?
I rate it. It's good. I would happily keep watching it. I'm still waiting. I kind of think early on we kind of saw what was happening and where this was going, and it wasn't really hard to pick the kind of major kind of who was doing what. I'm very confused by the Batman thing.
Yeah, the Batman thing was very out of character, I thought.
They're making him out to be really flawed.
Yeah.
And I think, he is a flawed character ultimately, but that they're really pumping that. I don't know, the whole Donna Troy Hawk arc was surprising.
It was a bit different, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's no surprise that Donna Troy is there.
No.
But yeah, no, it was a bit of a surprising episode. I do like what they've done with Tim Drake.
I really appreciate that.
Because if anybody knows their DC history, Tim Drake was the third Robin after Jason, before Damian, and he becomes Red Robin and leads the Titans eventually. But seeing him as a black man was really cool.
Yep.
So I like what they're doing with that. There's a couple of things, I'm one episode ahead of you, and we've got, we just found out 13 episodes in the season. I've watched episode 11 today. I'm kind of it started off really strong. First 3 episodes were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still, the whole Jason Todd thing is kind of weirding me out a bit. Because he seems conflicted, but they're not. But then conflicted, but they're
Yeah,
not. And like,
and
just
just a little bit emo sometimes. And
yeah,
I was hoping for more of a badass. That's
yes,
basically
yes.
the moral of the story there. And I understand that they're trying to give him some motivation and some reason and some stuff, but I just expected some more just badassery. Um,
Because Red
yeah,
Hood is a definitive member of the Bat family. You know,
yes,
after he got over his whole killing gangsters and as many supervillains as he could get his hands on, he still like uses a lot more force than anybody else in the Bat family. But he is he's there, but always on the outskirts because of his methods and
different.
his ways.
Yeah,
But I think in the show they're trying too much to give Jason a sort of redemption arc, which I don't think for me isn't quite working.
no, they're really pushing the family thing. They're really, there's been very overt commentary around, that's family will always forgive you and blah blah blah, and the whole kind of semi-conflicted state between Beast Boy and the others.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I also feel like the piece I'm struggling with is they've clearly tried to make him out to be the villain this episode or this series, or one of them. I actually wanted him just to go on a full-on rampage and just kill a bunch of bad guys, but he
Yep.
hasn't. And like
No.
that, I almost expected it to be he does that, and then that's what the Titans have to stop, and that's how they kind of, and that would be a kind of more traditional, I think,
Yes, I agree.
storyline. But none of that has happened, and he's just, I don't know, they're just showing him as petulant. They're
Mm-hmm.
just showing him as manipulated. They're not really giving him the legs the character really deserves, I don't think.
No. They're tying him in like the actor and the writers did a great job with Jason Todd in the first two seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He was spot on. He was arrogant. He was, up himself. It kind of feels like Red Hood has kept all of those traits,
Mm-hmm.
whereas realistically, in the comics, he's driven and strong, but he's overcome that, and he's become more of a, I don't want to say more of a person, more strong definitely, and more sure of himself.
Yeah, I mean,
Whereas
the
this
thing is,
Jason is not sure of himself.
no, he's the same Jason Todd, if not a more broken version of Jason Todd than we saw previously. Yeah, and I'm expecting that there's some kind of resolution at the end, and he kind of, this is kind of the transformation series for him, I'm hoping. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just expected more badassery from him. I'm actually surprised the way they brought him back. I always thought that they would be another. I was expecting something else. I didn't think they'd lean into the full comic piece for that so much. And I'm trying not to give away too much for anyone who hasn't watched. So, look, it's absolutely one of those things that I can see from, I mean, as I said, I'm in episode 10 of a 13 episode series. They're clearly gearing up for a finale. They're really kind of trying to line all the ducks up to have something cool happen at the end. I kind of feel like that's the sense I'm getting. Mm-hmm. It definitely would be a series I'd keep watching, but it kind of hasn't continued to grab me the first way that the first few did.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you can't come back from like that image at the end of episode 1 with Joker beating Jason with a crowbar.
Glorious.
And I understand that it's very difficult to keep that level throughout a whole series, but it's I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still enjoying it, I'm still watching it. It could have been a bit better.
Yep. Agreed. I really did enjoy things like the Barbara Gordon kind of backstory pieces that they've thrown in there. That's been fun. Watching her conflicted is really interesting.
Yeah, she's a good character. I think she's written well.
Yeah. No, and played well. I actually enjoyed most of the kind of Gotham PD. Even those bit parts that they've inserted have really suited. I really enjoyed most of that kind of scene, but yeah, it's just an interesting little. As I said, I'll keep watching quite happily, but I think there was some opportunities lost.
Agreed.
But to be honest, that's about the only thing, unless we want to count, things like the new Netflix My Little Pony movie.
Are you counting it?
Well, I wasn't, but that's about the only other thing I've watched at least 3 times since it was released a week ago. Not by choice.
Late at night, the wife's choice.
I wait till she's gone to bed and just sneak out. So that's about all the TV.
I always tagged you as a brony.
No, this is a conversation we don't need to. No, we'll leave this alone. I will make a really quick call out, though, for one of the local guys who never finished this project, and I resent him for it. Adam Smith, one of the local guys, started making a Space Marine My Little Pony chapter.
Mm-hmm. Yes, no, he told me about that.
And I was really disappointed because he was hand sculpting. Basically, he had the actual little My Little Pony critters that fit on a base. And he was hand sculpting Space Marine armor on all of them. And it was the best thing in the world. And he is actually an incredible sculptor. And he did one and a bit and started doing little bits and then got bored and did 8,000 other projects, as we all do. But yeah, the My Little Pony Marines, I feel like would have been one of those rage-inducing things at a 40K tournament that I'm really disappointed never actually played out.
If you are listening, Adam, just get back to that one.
Just do it. Just get back on that horse, literally, or pony, as the case may be. Yeah, get back on. So look, that's about all the watching. Purchase-wise, I went a little bit silly. And I ordered just a little. No, I didn't go full silly. Never go full silly. No, I bought some more paint. That's important. So I ordered a bunch more of the Scale 75 Artist paints. So they came in the other day. That was glorious. I picked those up. I ordered some more contrast paint because apparently that's what I do now. Every time I order something, I just tag on a couple of contrast paints. I did get a notification today, that Crystal and Lockjaw had shown up.
Excellent.
And was waiting my collection, which is glorious. I would say disappointingly, but that's probably not the right term. But Rich now has, at Throw the Dice, Crisis Protocol in stock on shelf.
Yes.
Just waiting for me to collect at will.
I did get the message probably the same time as you, just saying, hey, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are here. I'm like, cool. Might pick those up tomorrow night.
Ooh, what time's he shut tomorrow night? It's early.
He's shut from 6 for a private function, but pickups are still a thing.
Okay, that's an option. Interesting. Yeah, so Crystal and Lockjaw are there. But he has some other stuff on the shelf that I would like, and that's a problem. Because I bought more Scale 75 Artist tubes, I've run out of space on my paint rack, so I had to buy another paint rack. So that happened, and now that has more space than I have paint, so now I need to buy more paint. And I feel like I'm in a vicious cycle.
I know you're feeling now because your Back to Basics order came in as well.
That was my next comment.
Yes. So I got you to get me one and I put it together and I stuck it in place. And I'm like, okay, well, this is cool. I got a little purple one. It looks funky as. I'm really happy with it. Filled that one up. But now one of my other ones is pretty much empty. So I got 6 paints in it at the moment and spots for 7, 10, 12 more. So I'm trying to resist.
Yeah, no.
Maybe I should reorganize better and then just have everything organized, then I know exactly how many spots I've got. But
Yeah,
that's a job for another time.
that's future me's problem. But yeah, no,
Exactly.
I've got a few slots at least. I've got more than a dozen spaces left in this taint rack now, and it looks very bare, and I don't like it. So
I don't like it.
I will have to do something about that. I did actually. So the Backdoor Basics order came in. So I had to buy. I had to. It was mandatory. I had to buy some racks to fit all of the contrast paints that I'd been purchasing recently, and basically everything that wasn't a dropper bottle that I had laying around that was kind of just in a mess across the desk. So the good news is I had an old kind of miniature scenery paint rack with very similar kind of Citadel pot style holes in it, but they weren't full circles. They had like a little gap at the front, which means all of my like Chimera paints and everything actually fit in that really well. So they all got migrated to that one. And I had to buy more of these back to basics racks because they are legitimately my favorite paint racks. I didn't know I could have a favorite paint rack, but I do. And
Me
these
too.
are them. So that order came in. It turns out I can actually fit more on this desk. I measured completely wrong, which is all kinds of exciting. But it's basically, yeah, that's full nearly. And I have more paint coming from Rich at some point as soon as he can actually get Griffhound Orange and a couple of others that I have been waiting on. So I got those assembled, which is super fun and super easy, except that I've got these wall climber ones that sit on the back and they basically just have all my dropper bottles in them. And I've got 6 of those suckers. So there's 2, stacked 3 high. And so I did another one and I went to throw it on the top of one of the stacks and it was very wobbly. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I realized that whenever I'd got around to assembling them way back in the day, done a very bad job at it. And like the magnets were wrong, and because they very cleverly throw in magnets with all of these. So when you buy more than one, they're like, well, if you want to stack them and you don't want your paint to go everywhere, they give you a few rare earth magnets, the same as the ones you get on the G-Dub racks on the side. But you get 4 of them, so when you stack them, they magnetize together and they're really strong. But I'd done those all wrong and they wouldn't. So I basically had to dismantle like 2 or 3 old ones that I'd had so they didn't fall apart. And I wondered why I had a stack of magnets laying around. But anyway, we got there. So now I have a shit ton more paint racks and I need to buy more paint. That's important. And then, other things I got that were super exciting for me, no really one else. More paintbrushes because that's important. No, I needed some specifically for oils. I just needed a handful of really cheap ones I could use for blending oil paints and stuff because I don't want to ruin perfectly good sable brushes on paint that will destroy them invariably. So that was a couple of really cheap 5-packs from bloody Spotlight or one of those. Happy days. And I'm still yet to pick them up, but they're ready for me to pick up whenever I get around to it. I've been in this whole undercoat dilemma. When I can't be bothered with the airbrush, often, like I'm lazy, we know this, and just undercoating, if I want a flat coat on everything, I might as well just get a spray can and just hit it and make my problems go away very quickly and easily with zero preparation, like 2 minutes of shaking a can and we're happy days. But I really dislike the price of Games Workshop cans. I think that's fair. And I've been using the Rust-Oleum brand from Bunnings for the last however long with perfectly fine kind of results, but the spray is a bit coarse. It's a little bit intense. Like the flow on them is pretty hard. You've got to be pretty a little bit careful and a little bit, shy on the trigger. Otherwise, you just spray the shit out of everything. And I've got some really small models to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been going, right, like I should break out the airbrush, but when I can't be bothered, what am I going to use? And I've been looking at the Vallejo ones and the AK ones and everything like this. And I stumbled across a video that was like, hey, like all those graffiti artists that use like artist grade paint, but in a spray can, you can buy them and it turns out they're cheaper and better. So I'm like, right, let's give these a red hot go. So, having this conversation the other day, and our good friend Alice just goes, oh, well, I work next door to art shop. Why don't I just nip in and grab you some? So this is the best. I have new sprays that I've been hanging out to try for a while that I just need to pick up. So I'm super excited to just test these and see what they're like. As a primer, as an undercoat, as a whatever else, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity to do cool stuff. And I feel like often miniature painters don't use artist tools and products because there's miniature specific ones. And even the guy in the art store was like, oh, I wouldn't use these on miniatures. Like, it's bloody paint. Like, what the hell do you think we spray on them normally? So, and what you're actually getting is generally better quality paint in better quality cans with better quality caps and more control over the flow. Stop it. Please stop giving advice you're clearly unqualified to give, is my response to all of this. Because it's basically the same product. I mean, we can argue the primer versus paint thing, and I get that completely, but also I don't really need an etch primer for anything here. And let's not pretend that Games Workshop or Army Painter or Vallejo's are etch primers. They are not. So stop it, and I'm excited, is the moral of the story. That is all of the purchases, and then I actually did some stuff. So I've assembled a bunch more Marvel Crisis Protocol. I picked up my Wasp from Jared, which he's had for a while because we just split an order and he got Ant-Man, I got Wasp. So
I saw a picture of this.
Yes.
And I was curious, Wasp's wings,
yes.
Are they something else?
Well, they're like a transparent, like you get when you get vehicles and stuff, you get like the transparent canopies.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically
like that. Okay.
Yeah, it's like that.
I wouldn't trust myself to put them on before painting.
They're not staying transparent. They're getting painted.
Okay. All right,
so
fair enough.
Yeah, otherwise I would have left them off and then but no, they'll just get painted. So she's now done, along with her teeny tiny version, which is the best. I love the fact that they have a teeny tiny version, yes, and they transform, as well as, and I can't remember where I got to in the last update, but Angela and Enchantress are both now assembled, and balancing precariously on ribbons in the case of Angela. But, that's happy days. I really still appreciate the fact that Atomic Mass put extra parts in for the ones that you invariably lose, because I did lose the side of Wasp's helmet.
Okay.
One of them at least. But they said they give you extras because they know you're going to do that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love it. I've got a couple of extra, side bits for Ultron, and you get couple of different heads in some of them.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes they give you options, even better, and sometimes they just go, "Oh no, you will lose this. We'll give you 4," which is also amazing. I'm so on board. So they're all assembled. That was good, and then I've been working on my Guild Fellowship, who are so close to done. I can smell the end. It's the best.
Oh, how close now?
So I need to do the metals on the hobbits, probably a little bit of cleanup just around the traps, and then bases. So they're never getting done. Cool. Yeah, cool.
Just wanted to confirm. We don't want to set any precedents.
No.
that you can't uphold for the next commission that you're doing.
Well, yeah, which is also why I needed undercoat spray, because there's a lot of them and I was not airbrushing all of those. Yeah, so I've been playing with contrast lots to get these guys done. Actually, I hate the models. I really enjoyed playing with contrast. So that was basically the payoff. I feel like that was the win. So yeah, very close to finish with this, and it was 9 models. I don't know how long I've spent on them, but it feels like too long. But really close. As I said, it's just the metallic stuff for all of the hobbits. The rest of them is done, and then I've got to go doing bases for everybody, and I've been putting that off till last just so I do them all at once, and I can do 9 little victory laps and call it done.
Yes, do them all at once.
Sure. After hell freezes, so yes. So yeah, no, that's basically been my last however long of hobby.
That's fair enough, mate.
Been good.
Still an effort. Plus, you're that much closer to finishing the Lord of the Rings guys. Which
I just need them done. I need them out of my life. I'm so excited by the fact that I know I'm not going to have them any longer.
Not even going to be in your possession.
No, which is better because I don't want to look at them.
Random drive-by after they're done.
I'm just going to throw them out the window. Yeah.
Excellent. I don't know, like, I've got a lot of things written down for the last couple of weeks, and I don't feel like I've been that productive. So, I don't know. For me, I'll go through Xbox first because that's nice and short. I did pick up Necromunda. I don't know if I mentioned this last episode or not. I don't know. Yeah. So I did find it on sale on Xbox Live as, you know, a Xbox Live Gold member. For like $8, $9. It was less than 10, easy. So I did pick it up and I played through the tutorial level, and I felt, okay, you know, it's kind of like Mordheim. It'll take a little bit to get used to the controls and the timing and all the rest of it. But I feel like it could be decent. So I haven't gone back. I don't know why. I just haven't. But Xbox Live give you, if you're a gold member, every month they give you 2 free games. At the start of this month was a game called Aero. AEERO. Which I thought, okay, well, I usually download all of these because once you download them, you can delete them off your hard drive and then download them 6 months later when you feel like playing them, and they're still free. So I downloaded this one and I gave it a go. And it's like a drum and bass rhythm game. And you're this little spaceship flying around. And then you've got to keep on the track in time with the music and also shoot things that are coming at you. And it's kind of addictive. And the music I really enjoy. And so much so that I found a playlist on Spotify with all the songs. Yet one of the songs was out of order, so I had to recreate that playlist in my own with the songs in order. But I've only got I'm playing it on normal at the moment. It's like normal, advanced, and master. I don't think I'm good enough to get potentially any further in advanced, let alone master. But I've got 2 levels to go in normal and having a lot of fun with it. So that's been kind of sucking up a little bit of my time, at least my Xbox time. TV-wise, though, and you'll see when I get to my hobby that I haven't actually done an awful lot, because TV has been taking up a bit of time. So, like I said, I finished episode 11 of Titans. I have finished season 1. I assume it's season 1 of What If, which disappoints.
I haven't finished it, but I'm not I'll get to it at some point.
Look, it's It's interesting in the fact that it's interesting and annoying in the fact that these are all kind of separate episodes, and you can watch them completely out of order if you want. They have no relation to each other until the last one, when it all comes together. And I really didn't need to see Frat Thor again.
No one needed that.
And the episode itself was very average.
I'm making assumptions. I haven't watched it yet, but I can almost I
You
feel like
kind of know what's coming.
I could put money on the story arc, right?
Yeah. Look, it's not rocket science to work out, definitely. But it's done. It's watched. I think I mentioned last episode that I started watching He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Yes.
So I'd watched one episode, and I turned on the Netflix a couple of nights later to watch episode 2. That was totally my intention. Did I watch it? No. I got distracted by the little chart, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in Australia right now. And number 1 was a TV show called Squid Game. Don't know if you're aware of this.
Squid Game.
The Squid Game. It is a Korean show.
Oh, this can only end well.
And it is everywhere. Everywhere seems to be talking about it right now. And I had no idea what the hell it was. And I watched the trailer and I'm like, okay, fuck Masters. I'm going to watch this. And it was quite interesting because I got to I had to take a break, go downstairs for a minute. And so I paused it. And I'm like, it's 20 minutes to go. This is not going to wrap up in 20 minutes. And then I realized it was a TV series and not a movie like I'd assumed.
Okay.
9 episodes. They're all around about an hour each. Fucking phenomenal. Just so good. Basic premise is there's a whole heap of people, 456 of them to be precise, who are in financial debt.
I have seen a trailer for this. Yes. No, I have seen. Yes. Okay.
And they get together and they play kids' games. And the winner, if you get through all 6 games, you will get a cash prize, which works out to be the equivalent of, I think, around about 52 million Australian. And yeah, the first game they play is red light, green light. And look, if you have seen the trailer,
yes,
or if you know any of these type of movies or shows or anything like that, you can pretty much guess what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it and you're at all interested, maybe switch off, press mute for a minute. But the contestants that fail at the game or that get eliminated. So they're playing a game of red light, green light, where they're trying to get to the other end within 5 minutes. There's this big fuck-off robot that has a head that swivels and determines whether people are moving or not. And everybody's sort of jostling for position, going, this is fucking easy. We played this as kids, blah, 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 blah. Robot turns its head around, catches a few people. They get shot. Blood goes everywhere.
Everybody moves. Robot goes silly.
Everybody panics, runs for the exit, which, under the rules of the game, is moving. And then it continues on from there. And it's 9 episodes, and it is... I just got addicted, man. It was so good. The first episode, a little bit slower because it's setting the scene, building the character, especially the main character. But, yeah, I think I finished that in about 3 sessions.
Shit, okay.
After work or whatever. Really, really fucking good. Other TV show I have started, which I've only watched the first episode of, and it was slow to get to the point. Then again, it's based off a comic, which it can be slow in parts anyway. But Why the Last Man, which is basic premise is an event happens, and every male on the planet is killed, bar one. Two, technically. And so it's this guy. The basic premise is how the women rebuild without the men, but also this bumbling wannabe magician who happens to be the last man on Earth, and his little adventures and people trying to keep him safe from, there's some women obviously that don't want him to be around either. So, like I said, first episode in, not too bad, bit slow to get there, but I'm interested to see how they go, because it's like 10 graphic novels, and I've got them and have reread them numerous times.
All right.
The last thing I want to mention, TV show. Let me get to movies. See, this is
oh shit. Yeah,
this is what I've been doing all fucking time. I watched a trailer today for a new Netflix show coming by the end of the year. I don't know when, but Sandman. The trailer for the Sandman TV show, based off the DC Vertigo comic, which is my favorite comic of all time. And the trailer looked awesome. And from reading up a little bit, the first series is just going to be the first book, which is the first book of, I think, 11 from memory. So there's a lot of life in this, if they get it right. And apparently it's the most money that DC Warner have spent on a comic TV show ever.
No pressure.
And truly. So no pressure, but my God, like the guy they've chosen to play Dream definitely looked the part. So excited about that. Also, on a random note that I just remembered 2 seconds ago when I was talking about Sandman, I listened to the Fat Man Beyond Kevin Smith podcast, not the most recent one, the one before that, this morning while I was doing a few things around the house. Apparently, we're probably looking at this year, maybe early next year, for the next episodes of Masters of the Universe.
Ooh, this pleases me.
Yes. So one of his co-host Mark Bernardin said, "Oh, tell me it's coming out on Valentine's Day," and Kevin was like, "Earlier than that." So
this is good news.
It's coming. All right. 2 movies I have seen as well. I did watch Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds.
That is on the to watch list.
It's not bad. It's got its moments, and there are moments of hilarity. There are moments of same old throughout it, but it's definitely got some great parts, some great laughs. The wife and I had a few giggles watching it. I fairly early on, you see a guy lagging and sort of running into a wall and then disappearing and then running into the same wall and all sorts of stuff. So hilarious. If you haven't heard of this one, it's basically Ryan Reynolds is an NPC in a big online computer game who suddenly gets like aware of where he is. But until then, like, bank robberies are a regular occurrence and people getting shot, and it's just it's the life that he lives during that. The other thing I watched was last night, and it is finally, I say finally because it's about bloody time, but also I was never really in a hurry to see it. But it's finally free on Disney Plus. Black Widow.
The other thing that's on the to watch list, yes.
Yes. I'm always been kind of indifferent to Marvel films.
Yes.
Like, I watch them and I enjoy them, and I rarely go back and rewatch them. So I didn't have any sort of expectations, but I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
So it was a bit different to what I expected. The supporting characters were all very good. Taskmaster just looked incredible. And the fighting style, like mimicking Captain America, Hawkeye, all those sort of things is what Taskmaster does. And that was really well done. And then, what's his name? David Arbor from Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Plays a sort of past his prime Russian super soldier.
Captain America.
Yeah, and he's quite funny in it.
All right, so worth it is what I'm
Worth
hearing.
a watch, definitely worth a watch. I definitely did not resent my time that I spent.
That's a win.
Yes. Purchases, only a couple, and it was just mainly pickups. So the Dark Elf dice and board for Blood Bowl, I picked those up from Rich last week.
I'm actually surprised you're picking up full-size Blood Bowl boards, but
it's got a Kraken on it.
Yes.
I can play with the board.
And you can
when
name
I
it what?
Eventually go back to playing full-size Blood Bowl games.
Lol.
And say release the Kraken and turn the board over. Flip the board with all the models on it.
Yeah.
I just needed to have it. So
I was going to say, yeah, it's a collection completion issue rather than a practicality.
I'm not Pokemoning them, but I'm very close. I'm being slightly pedantic. It is some I've chosen not to get, but there's not very many.
There's a couple that look almost the same.
Yeah, I was really disappointed I didn't get the Shambling Undead pitch, and then I got the Necro pitch, and then they re-released the Shambling Undead pitch, and I was like, it's kind of similar to the other one. I'll just keep the other one.
Yeah. No, absolutely fair.
But at the same token, I don't know why I mean, it was very much I need to buy these now because I didn't buy them last time they were available and I couldn't get them and I was upset. But I don't have a Dark Elf team. I don't even have a thought of getting a Dark Elf team at this stage, but I still needed the dice and the pitch.
I mean, they were purple. Is that
true? Maybe that's it.
That was it. If they start doing Theme 7 pitches, it's bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, there goes my inheritance. I'm going to be selling my body on the street again. And then paying Rich for them all in 5-cent pieces. The hobby-wise, I have only been working on Crisis Protocol models recently. So I did get my delivery. I got Mr. Sinister, so he is put together now and undercoated. I painted up Toad relatively quickly, and for all of my Marvel ones, I've just used mainly contrast, and it seemed to work, and I'm quite happy with the results, and I don't need anything more for them. So they've been relatively quick. Like Toad probably took me like 2 nights to finish up. Then I moved on. I did Magneto's little metal tokens that he has, and I've almost finished him. And then I got bored and moved on and decided that I was going to do Ultron because, since the other ones have been so quick, Ultron's even more quick. So I finished him up today, and he's pretty much metal undercoat, null oil, silver dry brush, bit of red contrast over the top, and base and done. So up to 122. Not bad for the year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Doing all right?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll take it. It's a win for me. It's better than the 86 or whatever it was last year. So
I'm still impressed we're in triple digits.
I wanted to see. I think I talked to you about this the other night, but next year, instead of counting the number of models that I've been doing, which has been steadily increasing, I think it was like 30 one year and then 50 the next and then 86 and then this year. I'm also going to count next year the number of models that I buy and see what my overall net gain and or loss is. Because I think that'll be interesting.
When you say buy, only models that you purchase specifically,
or get given for reasons, or there's models that come into my possession for any reason. No,
good. This is an important distinction. No reason to continue.
For example, if I purchase, say, a Khorne Blood Bowl team by the end of the year, but it doesn't arrive until next year, that counts as models received next year.
Right.
I'm giving myself rules.
I like rules.
Things that won't fall into that are like things like board games, because I never paint my models for the board games, and it's unlikely that I will paint any of the Chibi X-Men, or I've got a couple other things coming. So
because you've got Chibi X-Men, and I expect probably Masters of the Universe will come through next year sometime,
and the Boys board game, and Batman Dark Knight Returns board game.
All right, so you sure we don't want to count these?
Yes. Otherwise, there is no way I'm going to... Like, there's going to be like 200 models or something in the X-Men thing alone. X-Men, yes. He-Man, like, oh God. There are enough bonuses with the X-Men one. The He-Man one was Come On Miniatures, so that's going to be double pretty much what the X-Men one was. Oh dear. So yes, I'm not going to count those because there is no intention of painting them.
Not even the Chibi X-Men?
No, I'm going to give those to you.
Oh, thanks.
To paint and give back to me.
Oh, whoa. No. I'm 50% with you here.
You're commission painting.
Well, am I?
It seems to be your new profession. And, you know, if I go back to work in the streets, like I said, I'll have a lot of 5-cent pieces to give away. So,
yeah, but can you stop squatting to give them to me?
Got to get them out somehow. Cool. That's about it from me for the weekly update, fortnightly update, whatever it may be. We would normally take a break and come back and talk about games that we have played.
We have a better idea.
We have played games, but we are going to save them.
We will savor them.
Save them.
We'll...
Savor.
Really? Yeah.
Sorry, Hannibal reference, not anything else. I've just noticed.
He didn't make that sound with his mouth.
the other lips.
Yeah.
I've just noticed the time. This is going to be, I'm going to apologize in advance. This is going to be a long episode, guys.
Strap in.
Strap in.
Strap on.
Strap yourself in and feel the G's. There's another Simpsons reference. Max power. Shall we take a break anyway, though?
Let's do that. And we will come back and we will talk about more important things than we have spoken about in a long time.
Yes.
The only will is my own. I do whatever I want to stay alone. All my decisions make it untouchable and tainted. I'm gonna suffer for the rest of my life, but I will always find a way to survive. I'm not a failure, but I know what it's like. I can take it or leave it or die.
And we're back.
Hurrah! We are here. You are probably long gone, but we're still here. Like I said, it's going to be a very fucking long episode. But we got stuff to talk about.
We have so many things to talk about.
We have all of the things. We did a little event. We posted a little event on Facebook, and we had people join in with said event.
which is the best way events work. Can I just say? Otherwise, it's not really an event. It's more just solo abuse. I do enough of that.
We're used to that already. We ran a little painting competition. This is our second one, and I think it was just as successful as the first one, even though we were a bit more structured with this one than we were with the last one.
Yes. And look, to be fair, I think I like structure. So, and this is, sample size of 1. I really like it when someone says, do a thing, but you can only use, or you have to do, or you kind of give me boundaries. Boundaries are my friends. I need boundaries. Otherwise, I don't know where to start or what to do.
I know this firsthand on a personal level, not related to anything hobby related.
I told you to give me boundaries. You did not.
And I learned from that. So we imposed boundaries on this one.
So the whole concept, and you know this because you've listened to this before, I assume. No, you can't have, because why would you be listening now? That's silly. But anywho, the whole process of this was, we were saying you need to feature somehow in the model, you need to feature the color pink. It doesn't have to be prominently, but somewhere we wanted you to show us your pink bits.
Because we're fairly fond of pink as a general rule, and I think if you have listened, you would know this by now.
What was fun is after we sort of launched the competition and everything, I actually had a look at my semi-recently painted stuff, and there is actually a lot of pink throughout. I didn't realize how much I actually used it, but no, there's a fair amount.
There's a theme going on.
Yeah.
And I like our theme.
I didn't know it, but here I am.
So, yeah, we ran a painted pink competition, and like we said, pink did not have to be the main color. It just had to be a point somewhere on the model, whatever you decided to paint. Being the hosts that we are, we also entered in the competition, so to speak, and pledged our own things.
That's basically so we could rig the whole thing and win our own prizes.
That's right. We will go through everybody's entry, but we're not going to wait till the end to announce the winners. I'm just randomly at some point going to say, hey, this person won, so that you have to listen to the whole fucking podcast and you can't just tune in for the last 5 minutes.
Oh, I like what you've done there.
No.
I mean, what will happen, though, is they'll just listen up until that point and then they turn off.
Well, we had more than one prize.
Oh, we did.
Evil laugh. But why don't we go into our little pledges first? Jace, do you want to go through yours?
Look, mine, relatively short, sharp, and simple. The added bonus for this is there was another painting competition that was happening online at a very similar time, and that was the 2021 Blood Bowl painting competition, which is run by a guy in Melbourne, it turns out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. And he's got international judges. He's got all kinds of... Anyway, craziness. I think he's Melbourne. Anyway, if he's not...
somewhere.
He is definitely located somewhere, but either way... and he's basically doing the standard painting competition thing of a whole bunch of different categories and a team and individual and stuff like blah, 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 and this and that. Cool story. But then he had one, and it was called the Dead Set Legend. I'm in. I don't know what the category is, but sign me the fuck up. And he basically picks out one model, and you have to paint that model. And this year it was one of the ringers from the Imperial Nobility team, which is a badass
awesome model.
It's so cool. It's just a dude standing there smoking a pipe in his little fluffy, puffy pants. Yeah, super cool model out of the Imperial Nobility team. And I went, right, well, that is the most boundaries I can have imposed, because I now know my color scheme and I now know the exact model. And so he was basically what I did. And I spent infinitely too long painting a single model that is not going to see a game. But again, lots of fun playing with. I've been doing a lot recently of kind of sketching in texture and adding a whole bunch of sort of highlights and stuff, and then glazing color in over the top of it. And the fluorescent pink from Vallejo model color works really, really well for that. They're kind of a bit transparent anyway, so you can kind of do stuff and then you throw this over the top and it just makes it stupid pink. And given the name of the competition we were running, I went, right, well, I need to go absolutely stupid bonkers pink. So the whole model is like fluorescent pink with he's got other pink, but he's got some nice pastel-y pink on his pants and this kind of stuff. But the biggest piece for me was having lots of fun sort of sketching in texture and making some scratches in the armor, all that kind of stuff, and then doing the pink over the top. Was one of those models I spent way too much time on, in that I sort of got to a certain point and then I showed progress pics to a couple of friends who are infinitely better painters, and I sort of went, I think I'm done. And they went, oh, are you? Because what about this? And what about that? And I went, oh, that's not a very good idea. So I then had to go back and I had him with these kind of hot pink sort of, shoes and slightly pink socks and all this kind of jazz. And they're just like, the problem is you lose the focus on the kind of top half, that kind of face and that kind of area. And the whole model is very similar. So it's hard to focus in. So I then had to go back and change all of the colors around the face and shoulders and that kind of feature area to make the face a feature and to make that whole top area a feature. I went, how about that? And they went, oh, yeah, but...
Oh, no.
And look,
because I know you already, and you are one that will go back and spend a night on a highlight under the eye or something.
Yeah. So look, there was a little bit of that. The eyes on it. Let's not even. You can't see them in the piece. That's the problem. And I wasn't happy, but you can't see them, so it doesn't really matter. I think I changed the feather color about 3 times in his hat. But literally the day before everything was done, I slapped him on I've got just a bit of like dowel from Bunnings, like curtain rod style dowel, but nice and thick, out in the garage. And every time I want to base a model vaguely fancy, I just lop a bit off the end of that and use it as a plinth. So I literally did that the day before and painted the base up and slapped him on and took photos, and happy days. I submitted it to the pink competition. I submitted it to the Blood Bowl competition. I then read the rules of the Blood Bowl competition that said he has to be mounted on the base he comes on. I'm now hoping that they don't notice, because realistically I just put it, like, it's a pretty standard Blood Bowl field grass thing. Like, I didn't go do anything special, and I took photos pretty close up. So I'm just hoping they don't notice. But we will see.
When is that one announced?
Soon. So it closed on the 6th, I think. So now they're doing the actual judging and everything, and we'll hear about it shortly. But that had a huge amount of entries from across the world. And it's got a couple of amazing judges. I think Roman Lapat is a judge on it, who is an incredible artist, and a few others, as well as a few of the kind of big Blood Bowl podcast hosts judging and things like, I think like the 3-Die Block guys are doing it, and Bonehead and that. So it'll be cool. I'm gonna have to listen to a few of those and just see what they think of different things. But I've seen some of the entries, and there's some incredible work on there. I'm now regretting I didn't go back and do like checks or something stupid. I should have, but I didn't. I did give his little pipe smoke. That was probably the last little touch, just for something different.
That added a bit.
I liked it.
In my eyes.
I liked it. Anywho, that was my pink entry. It was literally one dude, just stand there smoking his pipe in a lot of pink armor.
and probably about to be hit by an orc star player and thumped into the ground and murdered.
Yeah, he's not coming out alive. No,
he's got a big target on his back.
Looks like a badass though.
Yeah. No, very impressed with yours, mate. Look, I also went down the Blood Bowl route, and I pledged the 4 ogres from the ogre team, thinking that, what am I going to play next season? I thought, let's keep it a bit fun and a bit over the top, and ogres seem like they would be a fun yet not overly serious team, so let's go for that. So I pledged the 4 ogres. I did finish the 4 ogres, and I also finished 8 snotlings to go with them, and the tokens for the team as well. So I'm all ready and set to go for next season.
That's way too organised. I still don't know what team I'm playing.
I had a bit of fun with it. Like there's a lot of pink on them, but it's not the sort of the main color. Like their shorts, for example, are all blue with like a pink stripe down the side, and the snotlings, most of their clothes are blue. I've tried to get a bit of pink on them somehow, but I also went with the fluoro pink and tried to make it as pink as humanly possible, which it's definitely different, let's say. Overall, I'm quite happy with them. I'm also really happy with the ogre kicker, because I did something which I have not done before, which is just something that has never really even occurred to me, because most of the flesh paints that I've ever had are white flesh, tanned flesh, or in the case of the one which I got when I was 13, rotting flesh. So I've never done a darker model before.
Rotting flesh could have been a darker model, rotted.
No, the rotting flesh was very much a pale green flesh color, which when I got given for Christmas this paint set, was the only flesh color. So all my models that I painted for a while had rotting flesh, which was not attractive, let's say. But I stretched and I did a darker skin on the kicker, and overall really quite happy with how he turned out. So and then the bases, I toyed around with a couple of ideas. I played with them for a bit. I've still got my test base on the desk in front of me, and I was thinking of Astrogranite. I was thinking of mud, which I've done for a couple of teams. I was trying to think of something different, and eventually I settled on just a plain sort of Astrogranite with the white lines and stuff like that. But I couldn't get my hands on Astrogranite straight away, so I went home and I changed my mind again. And I did something which I've done in the past on my Skaven Mordheim team. I've done it on some of the Curse City models, which is the Mordant Earth crackle paint, which is a black crackle paint, which I just love because you can put a couple of colors underneath it, and then when it cracks, it just looks really special. So I thought I'd try that with pink. And I did pink rims on the bases, and I did pink all over the base, and did a couple of lines all over the place with different pink colors. Slapped the Mordant Earth on, and then garnished with pink flowers. So they're almost a vomitous sort of array of pink all over these models, but they're done. I'm happy with them.
Yeah.
And they
garnished it's an underused term. Can I just...
It seemed like the appropriate thing to say.
Yeah, no, I love it. The pink through the black, when you showed me those bases as a start, that was a definite yes. No, this needs to happen. Why haven't we done more of this before? And equally, how weird is it? This sounds really racist, but painting not white skin.
I know, I didn't, and it's never been a conscious decision on my part. It's just that all the skin colors I've had have been light or tan skin. So I went out specifically and bought some dark skin, like the Blood Reaver flesh and Night Quester flesh from Citadel. Put those over the top of I think it was a Cygor brown contrast, and sort of layered it up a little bit, and I'm really happy with him. So he won't be the last guy I do like that.
Yeah, nice. And look, I actually like the way that, because he's a different position as well, it actually makes him really stand out.
Yeah, that was the intention, because with the ogre team, you get two types of ogres in two different poses. So 2 times 2 poses. And then you fluff it out with different emblems on their chest and different heads and different shoulder pads. But you basically have 2 ogres with 1 foot back in the air like they're about to kick something. But you can only ever have 1 kicker on the team. So I needed a way of making him stand out a bit more, which I think has been achieved.
Well.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, we still need to discuss your habit for coloured rims, but anyway.
I like my coloured rims. Generally, I mean, it's not usually a Blood Bowl thing that I do, but I decided for this competition I'd stick with it.
Lean into it. I dig it.
It was perhaps a little bit too much, but let's go with it. And that Modern Earth over the pink worked. Didn't work as well as Modern Earth over like a couple of shades of like a light green for the Skaven. It just looks like Warpstone.
That was also cool. Yeah.
That's been my favorite so far, but we will keep going. We'll play around, and I tried 1 or 2 things that I hadn't tried before, which is always a positive.
Yeah, dig it.
Anywho, that's us.
Turns out we're not eligible for prizes, and I wasted all that time.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I checked the rules.
But we write the rules.
I know, we did a really bad job.
Oh, fuck. All right.
Yeah.
It's just as well we had other people enter then.
Oh, thank fuck.
Anyway, so what we'll do, we're going to go through, the same as we did on the last competition episode, we are going to go through each entry and say a couple of things nice about them.
Oh, shit. I'm going to redo my notes.
We want to obviously praise the work that you guys do. You have gone out of your way to jump on board with our little pink train, and we really appreciate all the effort that you guys have done. I know that there are others that had started and did not finish, and even though we're not going to talk about yours because the pictures weren't in, that sort of thing, but we still appreciate the effort and the fact that you were willing to jump on this journey with us. So thank you. But we'll go through the entries, and we're going to go through them in order of which they were posted. So when the final pictures were posted up, that's where we'll start. So shall we kick it off?
Let's go.
All right. So first entry was from Alice, and it was the St. Celestine model from Sisters of Battle for 40k. Now, first and foremost, I want to, I know I've just said that we're going to talk nice about everything, but this model shits me to tears. Like, straight away, instant hatred, instant, and it's not the model itself, it's Alice's painting. So, instant jealousy. I have this instant jealousy of anyone that paints better than me. So literally everybody on this competition, right? Alice has been painting for fucking less than a year. I think it's even less than 6 months. And this is what she turns out? What the hell? What have I done wrong in my life?
Oh, we don't have time for that episode.
Don't we? Okay.
No.
All right, we'll do that next time.
Yeah, cool.
So she has done these pastel blues and pinks and yellows and whites. The blending on the wings is just incredible. And I literally can't fault it, which also shits me. the pink has been used extremely effectively for me. It's like on the tips of the wings, on the cloak. There's, pink rocks on the base and flowers on the base and pink bedazzles at the bottom. But I really appreciate as well the differences in the front to the back of the wings. So you've got almost all the color, like the pinks and the yellow is on the front of the wings where you see, and on the back of the wings it's more the subdued blue, and you can see the tips of the pink there as well. And it just creates that really amazing dynamic of the model. Like, I don't know. I can't say anything else.
No, there's a few things. I mean, the fact that she vajazzled Saint Celestine, I really appreciate. Maybe not what I would do with the base, but
it was different. That's for sure.
Look, points for originality, points for coming up with stuff there. The whole, because we know the amount of time that Alice has been painting, and clearly. And this maybe leans into a previous episode where we talked about transferable skills, but I feel like this isn't the only time she's done something like this, because you do not do this having not done anything like this before. Equally, a little bit of a sneak peek, I at least saw one kind of work in progress shot where she was just kind of sketching where the highlights and blends and everything were going to go on the wings.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also something that you do not do unless you've got some kind of background in something. Like, you don't have new painters come in and just go, oh, I'm just going to sketch this in and then I'll smooth it out later. Bullshit. You've done something. I don't know what it is, but you've done a thing. But yeah, super smooth. And not only super smooth, but to go through color transitions like that, the fact that it goes through the kind of the pinks, the yellow edge highlight is relatively inspired to add an extra color there. I really dig the hot pink that she's put right in the recesses of that kind of the inset of the wings where the feathers originate from. That's the, and the fact that that's paired with the really pastel yellow just makes it jump. And the other thing I've never thought about doing, and I really dig it, is the fact that she's gone the hot pink on the kind of, not the front, the back, but those side edges of the wings.
Mm-hmm.
I've never thought of making a feature of that. It's always, for me, it's always been a weird part of a model because you kind of feel like it's chunkier than it should be because it's a model. Like, if these were actually wings, that would basically be a non-existent part. You'd have the front and the back, and there'd be like a tiny little line. But in a lot of Games Workshop stuff, there's this kind of extra third dimension that you just like, all right, do I hide this? I assume I hide this. How can I hide this? But she's made a feature of it, and that's super cool. The other thing I really dig is on where she's gone the difference, like the pastel kind of pinks and blues and shit on the armor, but shading with color. So rather than just going, right, well, this armor or this cloak in this instance, because the cloak's what I'm looking at, this cloak is a pastel pink. It is a pastel pink, but all of the shadow being like a blue shade throughout it. So actually getting some color contrast as well as all that kind of thing. So yeah, look, it hits the brief, firstly. Pink, yes.
Check.
The variation between the pastel and that really kind of intense fluorescent magenta-y kind of pink, I think there's a couple of pieces in there where you're just like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of this. Where did this idea come from, and why didn't I come up with this first? I'm marginally resent. And then, as I said, just the little things like, making a feature of the sides of the wings was super cool. So, yeah, well played.
A way to show us up. Me especially. Anyway, I think that's enough on that. I don't want to feel any worse for the rest of the night. Moving on Steve Quinn was the next one. And he has done a squad of Dark Elder Mandrakes.
Yes.
Now, the colours I loved. So he's got it's a pink flame. The only issue I have with this one is the picture is a little bit hard to make out.
Yeah.
But the pink flames on the hands and how that's reflected onto the model, of the legs especially in some of them, it was just really spot on for me. The colour choices as well, the greens and even the white with the hair and the purple and the yellow on the base, everything's just sort of, it's thought through. It looks really, really good as a single model, but as a cohesive unit, they are all instantly recognizable and completely tied together.
Yes. So, and again, a little bit of insight because I know Steve. He's been showing me up for way too long. We used to play Malifaux together, and the jerk used to show me up all the time. He'd rock up with this new thing that he painted, and he'd just be like, "Oh, I hate you."
So now you know how I feel, like on a constant level.
Yeah, but he's really good. So a few things. So yeah, I think that the piece that really gets me is the thought that's gone into it beforehand. So firstly, yes, the photo isn't great. Steve, lift your game. You're better than this. There's 10 of them. Like, he's thrown in 10 models there. And I also know, because I know Steve and I had a conversation with him after this, that squad of 10 models to that standard, 3 hours.
Get out of town.
That's why I hate him. Yeah, no, start to finish, that is the complete amount of time. He is a jerk of the highest order. Stuff I really love about it. So, and part of the reason he does paint as quickly as he does, as well as having a really good understanding of the techniques he's using and that kind of stuff, is planning out colors. So the fact that he's knew that these things were going to be these kind of greens, the kind of turquoisey blues, the white hair, which draws your attention back to the head of the model, which is what you want, but it doesn't really change the color. Also, to get a smooth kind of white that doesn't suck, like, stop it.
Just hair in general for me.
Yeah. But then to throw in this kind of real pop of spot color, which he's used that magenta. He's gone the full kind of object source lighting, OSL style glow. So you've got this full kind of reflection onto the legs and that whole side. But you look at the model and you see pink flame that is 100% there. And you see this kind of white head that frames your attention. So you've got this real kind of focus for where you're looking at them. But then to replicate that across an entire unit, and I know he's got a whole army of these bastards, not necessarily the Mandrakes, but Dark Elder itself as well. And yeah, the base choice, just to throw a slightly different color in there. The whole lot is pretty cold, because it is those greens and blues and that kind of jazz. And then the pink is not necessarily a it's a warmer color, but you can have a cold pink as well. And then just to throw the yellow in the base, which is the warmest color in there, and all of a sudden it creates this real separation between the model and the base. So you can clearly see this is the ground, this is where they're walking, this is the environment. It could be fucking anywhere, who knows? This is the model, and it creates a situation where you're not blending the model into the base, and it all kind of, you're not sure where you're looking. As I said, planning. I should do more of it.
I sense a theme here.
I won't. Let's be clear. But yeah, this whole concept of choosing the right colors, choosing the right techniques, planning the model out, and then just putting it together, and watching it assemble in this. He's a maniac, and I generally hate him for the quality and speed in which he puts things out. Because I knew Steve, like, he was going, the projects I'm working on at the moment don't really have pink in them. I said, yeah, but you're going to be bored and have half an hour. So just paint something different. He's like, oh, fine. And like the next day posted these, jerk.
So there's
He's
a
an
theme
absolute
going.
doormat.
Like we're still kind of talking nice about the models. We're just talking smack about the people.
Yeah, I know, right? They deserve it, though. Yeah, you guys had it coming. It's not our fault.
You posted the pictures. You opened yourself up to this.
Yeah, it's not like we created an event and invited you and said it to be a safe environment. Like, no, none of those things happened. Anywho.
I don't think safe environment was ever written in the terms and conditions.
Correct. We didn't even put a safe word in there.
Pineapple. Moving on.
Let us.
All right. So next up we had Samara, who painted a very pink dragon.
So very pink.
Now, this is Samara's absolutely first model ever painted. She legitimately went out, purchased a model for this competition. I don't know. She may have even purchased the paints as well.
I'm pretty sure she did, yeah.
So, and the paints were something new. They were Born acrylics from memory, from my notes. So not something that I am familiar with. Are you at all familiar with?
No, and I believe they're kind of craft store style, acrylics, that kind of deal. So, and that was probably going to be my first point in that. Not necessarily the easiest tools to work with either. In that, it's all paint. It all works. You can absolutely, and I will not say that the type of paint you're using means that you're going to have a better or a worse result. But the thing with miniature paints and that kind of paints that we generally use is that you kind of know the consistency, you know the feel, you know how they're going to cover. You've got this general idea. They're all made of the same stuff, but just to varying degrees of pigment density and all this kind of stuff. And it's not necessarily designed for what we're doing. So it just probably adds a degree of difficulty. But also you get a lot of cool stuff because I mean, if we're talking artist tools, there's kind of artist quality, and then you go to student quality, and then kind of the craft stuff is generally a step down again, but they still do these like super cool different effects that we don't see a lot of in our hobby as well. So all of a sudden you can get kind of, color shift and shimmer effects and these kind of pearlescent things that you don't necessarily see in a lot of miniature lines as well. So it's worth dabbling outside, but they can be tricksy. So first ever, just going out and grabbing some paint, and there was a lot of pink in that selection. If I saw that first kind of photo with I bought stuff, now what kind of photo that she threw up.
She's definitely gone all out on the pink, and that's something I can totally get behind.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was the point of the competition, wasn't it? Paint it pink. I wasn't expecting anyone to go more pink than me, and she's done that in spades. But there's still differences there. Like, you can see the difference between the wings, the stomach, the horns, the nose.
Yeah.
There's a contrast between the different aspects of the model, which, on my first model, I would not have been able to do, let alone in the same color range.
And that's it. It's super hard to get that distinction between different parts. Like even looking at it, like the arms where you've got the different muscles, you can clearly see the distinction between the different muscle groups and the different scales and stuff, which is super hard when you're dealing with a really limited color palette, and a really limited color palette of almost the same tones. And then to throw in the kind of shimmery pearlescent effect as well to give it another layer of, like, you're still using relatively pink paint, but it just creates different points of attention and a different effect to create a different distinction between areas. I super dig it. So, and other things I would not have done on my first model is, if we treat that kind of shimmer effect as a highlight, there's so many of the right places hit. Like it's where light would hit and shine off and stuff. It's like it's kind of really reserved on any of those underside bits, or any bits that would be in shadow. So I think there's some really clever use of that as an effect.
And the bass, like, why can't I do decent basses? Just. She's taken these little crystal things and put them on and created this image of this pink dragon sitting on top. It's whatever its treasure may be. It's telling a story in the one model.
Yeah. And what I love is, and this is the only one where we got really a story in the submission as well, because, in her piece, she's like, here is my dragon. It was a blue dragon. It turned pink. He's now got these, strawberry quartz and pink opal, and which is clearly what she's put on the base. And I know shit all about rocks, but it's actually this whole piece where the model is actually telling a story. It's a character. It's got a background, and I feel like the whole thing reflecting that, and you can tell that from the model, is super cool, and probably something I don't do enough of is that storytelling element.
I just hope that that this model is now sitting somewhere on a shelf, pridefully displaying itself in all its grandeur, because she's done an amazing job for a first model, just such an incredible job, and she should be really proud of this.
Yeah, super cool. And to jump in for something like this where you're actually throwing your first model online, that would be terrifying.
And in a competition.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it's one of our competitions, but
yeah, so
it's still a competition in the word.
Yeah. Yeah. We put the word in there, and she jumped in and just went absolutely balls deep. Dig it. Super cool.
Love it. All right, next up we had Joel. Now, Joel has done a Goliath Ganger from Necromunda. And he's done almost a sort of a different aspect to most, if not all, of the other entries, in that the pink is sort of the lighting effect on the model. And you can really see that with the dark, because there's a dark side of the model, and then
he's
there's
like the
light side. Yes. The darker side of the pink, or lighter side of the pink. I don't know, you're the Pink Floyd person here. It's just the model itself. It's such a sort of simple color scheme with the blacks and the yellow on the trousers, and obviously there's a lot of metal involved because it's 40k. It's Necromunda, but it's done so well. It just draws your eye to it. Those the hazard stripes, I forgot what they were called for a minute, on the axe, like, they are incredibly well done. You've got chipping on the axe as well there, I'm just noticing now. And the base just sort of ties it all in together for me. So he's not sitting on a said miniatures base. It's more like a piece of metal from a floor of what he's walking on.
Yeah. And this kind of ties into my last point around the telling the story. Like, it's not just about the painting of the model, it's where the model is, what's going on around him. And you can't see what's going on around him, but you can tell based on the lighting that he's thrown in, and kind of the implied surroundings, which I love. The other thing I really love is the approach that Joel took, and that I saw an early work in progress piece where he basically painted the whole thing just straight. It was, straight skin tones. I think the mohawk was yellow, like the hazard stripes were just painted normally, and then went back through and added the pink lighting as a secondary piece. So an early shot, he basically, there was no pink on it. So really, really hard to do in the first instance, because to make light effects work, you need the model to be dark enough for the light to show. If you paint the model just like it's in broad fucking daylight and you shine a torch on him, the torch does nothing. So you've got to kind of plan it out from the start. I really, really dig. And then just to go through and get the right amount of pink. So the kind of the pinkness of the head, the glow on the head and the weapon and things like that is more than around his feet and stuff where the glow isn't as strong. You've got more glow on kind of metallic things and things that would be reflected, rather than just kind of his pants don't have the same amount of pink on them because they wouldn't be as reflective. Like there's a lot of really clever, subtle things. And then you chuck in, just some casual hazard stripes and some casual chipping and all that kind of jazz. But to be able to go, and flip the model and look at the other side and go, see the separation between what is lit and what is not lit, and where it started, and it puts the model in place. You can see where he is in space, in kind of an atmosphere that isn't actually there. I super dig it.
It was a really interesting one for me because clicking on the first picture, you get that pink glow on the head and the pink hair. And I thought that's what it was. I thought he's done pink hair on it and a bit of a pink face. Fair enough. Okay. And it's not until you click through to the pictures of the other side where you see the absolute darkness and the yellow hair and what the model actually is, that you see the effort that's gone in to this lighting effect. And is that a cigar in his mouth? I couldn't work it out.
Think so, which is one of the most raged about pieces in, it is. And the fact that he's got the little end kind of lit up a bit, is super cool. It's one of the most raged about pieces in the Necromunda Facebook groups and stuff, because they're like, it's tiny, it's a separate piece, we hate it.
It's a separate piece, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure the cigar is a separate piece. So, I mean, anyone who's assembled anything from the Malifaux range doesn't care for this, but everyone else is like, oh my god, it's tiny.
It's just such a cool model. It's got such character just in the way it's posed and the weapon and the cigar that he's given him. But to add that extra level of lighting effect and the hazard stripes, and again, like I said, just the simpleness of the yellow and black on the pants just stands out. I dig it.
Yeah, as I said, the whole piece for me is you saw the early work in progress shot, and there was no pink on it. He hadn't actually hit the brief at all, and then you look at the final piece, and you're like, oh, I get it now. You clever Jack.
Theme.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, we have Clinton. And Clinton has done a death metal jester. Now, Clinton is also our newest Patreon and has signed up for us to play games every month and has chosen Blood Bowl 7s as his game. So he is now my new favorite person. Competition's over. Shall we end the episode now?
Yeah, why go on? We basically...
I'm
wondering how I tell my wife.
I think she's used to the disappointment now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, look, I love this model. Always have loved this model. Stick a guitar on him instead of a big fuck-off gun.
Cooler.
It's so much better. The effort that Clinton's gone to here, like the diamonds on the cloak and on the leg, like they're not just diamonds; they're highlighted diamonds. I mean, even the simplicity of the stones on the base and the color of the whatever it is that he's standing on, the ruin, just adds to the effect. And the pink on the diamonds was really cool. The reddish sort of guitar with the pink highlights just adds to it for me.
Yep.
And the purple with the hood, like anyone that knows me knows I love purple almost as much as I love pink. So he's ticking boxes with me, whether he means to or not. But I love this model. I love what Clinton's done with it. It's something different, but so cool.
Yeah, I mean, flat out, there are sheer awesome points to be thrown at this. The second you take this badass model and throw a flying V guitar in his hands,
which is shredding.
It is the most metal thing you could have done, and I love it. Actually, that's a lie. The most metal thing you could have done is take those ruins and replace them with some kind of amp that he was jumping off. But I'm relatively sure Clint's actually putting together a Harlequin army and probably wants bases to fit in, so I'll forgive him.
God help him if he's doing those diamonds on every model.
Yeah, the dude's doing diamonds. It's crazy.
We're on Model 5. I think I've gotten upset about how much better painters every one of these people is than me. And we still got many more to go. Fuck.
The difference the difference in the pinks, I'll hit you, the guitar with that real kind of deep, vibrant one, and then the kind of more light, I'm assuming it's like the Vallejo versions, I think is squid pink, but I think it's something else in the G-Dub range. But each one of those highlighted is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. That's crazy. Zooming in now, I'm watching, the gems on his belt highlighted and stuff like that as well. So there's extra point. The fact he's gone through and done the frets. Now, I haven't checked whether the frets are correct.
Probably will.
Yeah. Super cool. They definitely get thinner as you get towards the body of the guitar, which is actually awesome. Yeah, I think that, look, the biggest call out for this is I don't want to count how many diamonds that dude painted.
No.
And to do it on a curved piece of cloth that's not a regular shape and try and make those match up, and you're trying to work out, okay, well, if there's a cutout here, where does the diamond end and how does it go? Absolute win. And then to go back and highlight every single one of those jerks, I wouldn't do it. I flat out would not. Actually, I know this because I have Harlequin sitting in a cupboard and I started painting diamonds on one of them and went, fuck this game, I'm out. I will use it for characters only. Yeah, it's crazy. I am so stuck on that pose plus guitar is perfect.
Yes.
Like, you could not get cooler until you added diamonds. It's super glam rock. Like, the guy needs to go and audition for Steel Panther. We have not used a Steel Panther song. Let me just
make a
note of that. And then the other cool thing about this is that level of separation. So he's sitting on a relatively, like, it's a bony stone kind of very elder looking base with rocks and the tufts and stuff. And it just, you look at the model. The base is there, cool, he's standing on a thing, happy days. But the model is the bit that really stands out, and I really dig that level of that separation. And there's still some tie-in, like the bone on his chest is kind of a very similar one to the bone of the ruin, which I think is actually a really cool kind of storytelling element where you could go, oh, it's all the same material. There's the little tie-ins, but he sits so far above and apart from the base. I am a massive fan. Fuck, it's cool. I want one. Where do I get mini guitars like that? Because I need to add mini guitars to models now.
Well, you got a 3D printer.
Yeah, it's not going to do that.
Isn't it?
No.
Okay. I don't know about 3D printing.
I need a better one. I need that one.
There's a thought.
Stop it. Dig it. Super dig it. And actually, I've seen some of his work since as well, and he's doing Elder and he's doing diamonds across vehicles and stuff at the moment, and it's looking super cool.
His stuff always looks good, and it's always got just something different about it. Like his corn demons, like some of them had LEDs in the eyes, and just way too talented. Just
and stop coming up with better ideas than me is the moral of the story. Like, just rein it in.
Yeah.
Let's
move on. Next up, we had Lauren, and Lauren did one of, now I don't know, to me this is the Underworld's Banshee. So
is it the Underworld one?
Well,
I don't know.
it's definitely you can play. I know you can play the model in both, so you can use it in Age of Sigmar and Underworlds. I'm pretty sure from memory that she is the leader.
The leader.
The leader is good. The leader is great. We surrender our will as of this date. The leader of the Banshee Underworld team.
Yeah.
Now, I've played quite a bit of Underworlds, and I have not played any Age of Sigmar. So I'm just going to refer to it as the Underworld's Banshee. But I absolutely love this model. Like the various different shades of pink. I have painted this model, and I know how much effort I had to go to make the cloaks look right and the shading and all the rest of it. The pink on the skirt being a darker pink than the cloak itself, and even the face is pretty much shaded up to a white on the cloak. Just incredible. The breastplate with the dark gold, the dark and the gold, the contrast on the arms, and even the highlights on the base for this were really impressive and stood out to me. But I mean, I love this model. I love the paint job that she's gone for this. And I think in her notes, she actually said that she was rethinking the color scheme for her Nighthawk army. There we go. So I think she's using it in Age of Sigmar.
But correct choice, because this is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I had similar notes where I'm just like, you've got what could be and what 99% of people would paint as the same material between the sort of the cape, the cloak, the head thing, the skirt. But there's just differences between them. And I think in her comment she said that she'd mixed in different amounts of like pearlescent paints and stuff. And so firstly, just points for mixing, because not enough people are doing that.
I don't do it at all, pretty much.
And to give,
I'm lazy that way.
The difference between that headpiece and then the inside of the kind of cloak down her back and then the skirt, the fact that the skirt almost looks like it's kind of bleeding into the like as it fades out a little bit, it's super groovy. The different shine on them, I dig, and again, it's one of those things that is hard to make. Like it is, because the second you add something that's shiny, you start to lose control of where the reflections are. But in this instance, I don't know whether it's just the angle she photoed them, but they're right. It's that kind of front, most forward bit of the skirt that really catches it, and some of the highlights. The fact that she's gone up to almost the white to give it kind of the see-through effect on the veil. Super groovy.
I'm nodding here, which is great podcast material.
Yes. I actually really dig. She's chucked in an orange like little lamp on her belt.
It's is it a lamp or an hourglass? I can't remember.
I don't know, but it kind of, next to all of the colors playing out, it looks like it's this kind of glowing kind of orange piece, and it's just such a really interesting spot color, because it's the different end of the red side of things. Yeah. It's that yellow red instead of the pinky kind of, you start adding blues into reds to get that, and white. So it just adds that kind of vibrancy in the color. The gold armor, and just the separation, because there's kind of a real heavy black that separates it from everything else. So there's none of this kind of getting lost of what's skirt, what's armor. It's just like, it's there. And equally, the same with the base. Like, it almost goes into like a black shadow, which I super dig. This high level kind of, contrast, just to go, here's where the model stops, here's where the base starts. And it really creates a feature of it. And it still, gives you those pops of colors with the roses on the base and that kind of stuff. But it makes the model really readable. And with a model with so much of this kind of flowing robes and stuff that kind of blends together, it could be really hard to do. And just to create those really kind of sharp lines, the fact that even in the mouth that's open, it's a kind of this real dark black in there as well. I really dig just how ballsy that is, because you screw those lines up and you got to cover it with a nice little pastel pink. And I don't want to have to do that.
So this is why I think we balance each other out a bit, because I can look at this model and go, that looks cool to me. And then you can explain all this color differentiation and all these technical arty side of things, which I just go, it just looks cool. I like it.
I mean, I make most of this shit up. It's probably not right, but
you can say it well, and you can say it like you mean it.
Yeah, I mean it. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I definitely mean whatever it is that I'm talking about. So, I mean, her comment is very, self-deprecating. She's like, "Oh, it's pretty simple," but the overall concept is. But sometimes they're the hardest things to actually pull off, and I think that's the piece. Yeah, super. I really dig the color scheme.
Yeah,
I think
agreed.
that's better. I haven't seen your white and purple Nighthorn army, but I think this is a better idea.
Yeah, well, we always think pink is better anyway. I think it goes without saying, but we'll say it anyway. Yeah, totally redo the rest of your army in this scheme from now on. Moving on. So the next post was from Adam. Now, Adam has said that he didn't get anything done.
All right, well, let's move on.
So good on you, Adam. Thanks a lot. Thanks for nothing, But he has posted some pictures of a plague surgeon done by his 6-year-old son, Malachi. Now, first of all, I just want to call out Adam and just say that it's a pretty low thing for you to do, mate, to pass this off as your 6-year-old son's work when it's obviously yours. Because, I mean, I've got a 6-year-old daughter. There's no way that she would be able to do anything like this. This piece, if it is your son's, and that's the last time I'll say that, is incredible. I really, really dig it. It's still better than my painting. The blade, how we've got the various, the blue and the coated and blood. The blood is a huge effect on this because it instantly takes it away from the light of the blue. There we go. I'm trying this color theory thing now.
Yeah, see?
And what I love about Nurgle is that you can paint it whatever way you like, and it doesn't seem to make any difference. Whatever you paint it, it will look incredible. The pink on the shoulder pad is just spot on. It just seems to work for me, and I love the little plague bearer face coming out of it with the red horn. But the pink is there. It's spot on for that. I love Nurgle no matter what, and this piece to me is just really incredibly well done. I've got written here the color progression. So the red to the metallic to the green, it brings your eye in. You've got the base with the various murky, pus Nurgle's rot type paint on the edge of the blue sword with the blood. It comes together as a piece. It tells a story. Malachi should be so proud of this because this is a really amazing piece.
I really wish I was doing this when I was 6. That is literally the very first one of my notes of this was just 6 with about 40,000 exclamation points after it.
I've already mentioned tonight that my first paint set had various different odd colors, and I would have been 13, 14. And I've still got some of my models, and I could legitimately put up a picture of one of them next to this. And this is 10 times better than I was doing at double the age.
But just conceptual, the idea that I'm looking at it and there's just so many different effects and ideas and everything thrown in there, which is crazy. You've got this the kind of blue power sword kind of effect, but also it's bleeding, but also it's got this whole kind of pus, gross slime everything. Situation. And then, the same deal, you've also got these kind of green glowing kind of power cords on the backpack. You've also kind of got this ghostly glow face deal going on. I'm just being able to understand these kind of different ideas at 6 is crazy. You throw in the pink shoulder pad, which I love because it is so, I mean, it's so different to everything else on there. So it stands out. I dig it, but it just works. I don't know how it works. I don't know why it works. It is just the best idea just to go, here is something completely different. And I think it's because it is Nurgle, right? So you've got this whole concept that pretty much anything is fair game. I don't know how the pink got there. I don't know why it's pink, but there was unpleasantness that ensued that created that. And then, you know, the whole plague bearer head coming out of it is groovy as hell. Yeah, absolutely blown away by, firstly, the paint job and the way that all these different effects kind of affect each other. So you've kind of got this metallic, and you've got the glow on the metallic from the thing, and then you've got the ghost face, and you've got this different blue sword, and you've got that, and they all just play together, and it all just kind of comes together in this overall concept of a model, which is, it's just super groovy. And then to do it at 6, like, stop it. I haven't sworn because I feel like, you know, if Malachi listens to this, I want to be appropriate. Maybe don't let him listen to the rest of the episode. I can't guarantee that.
Probably a good idea, Adam. Like, we'll keep this very PG rated, but full props to Malachi. Yeah. And to be quite honest, look, Adam, fair enough. You didn't enter. Yeah, I'm sure you had your reasons. That's fine. Whatever you want. We don't need you. It's fine. If you could just ensure that Malachi enters any other competitions that we do, then I would be eternally grateful, because I really want to see more of his work.
I do want to say, though, absolute props for encouraging, supporting, clearly letting a 6-year-old near all your stuff, because that is terrifying in the first instance, but actually, you know, nurturing it to get to a standard like this as well, to nurture a kid's hobby like that, where this is not what a lot of 6-year-olds are doing. And this is, you know, it requires an attention span that many 6-year-olds do not have. It's, you know, awesome effort, you know, to kind of foster that as well.
Yeah, no, really, really dig this one. I think he's done an incredible job, and he should be really proud. All right. Shall we move on?
Agreed. Yes.
All right. So the next entry was from Shane, who has entered an Infinity model, which is the leader for his 5 parsecs from home crew. Shane is automatically our favorite hobby homie.
Because he actually entered.
Because he entered. He said he was going to enter, and he did enter. Fox?
Look, to be fair, Shane has always been the hobby homie that you know will follow through.
That's true. Very true. Nah, not going to say what I was going to say. Love it, Shane. The highlights on this model are just spot on. I love the fact that the hair is the pink aspect in this one. And I have complained numerous times on numerous episodes about how much I hate painting hair. Yet this hair just looks spot on. The highlights are just awesome. And the red cloak with the white and the grey uniform, it just, the colours for me really worked. It really stood out. The pink with the red had that sort of link that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be more intelligent with my color conversation than I am. So forgive me for that. The red and the pink go together and they look good. But yeah, look, really, I've always loved Shane's painting, and this is absolutely no exception to that. It also, is that camo on the gun? Because that's what it looks like to me.
It's gone for, I'm trying to work out whether it was intentionally camo, whether it's, because he's gone for a very non-metallic metal effect anyway off the back of that, and then he's added the texture on there, which gives it this kind of camo effect, which is super cool.
I love it.
because I mean, you here you are sneaking around the spaceship trying not to die. Last thing you want to be carrying around is a shiny ass metal gun that just screams, "Please, here I am. Shoot at me with your laser beams." So choosing red, I see what you've done there, Shane, because I know you and I know Mephistum Red.
True.
And I see what's playing here.
But it works.
Absolutely, and you're right. So the red and the pink coming from that same kind of section just automatically tie them together and give the model an overall kind of feel of the color scheme, and you kind of get that. I'll agree that the pink hair and shading, like finding the right color to shade that and get the right level of kind of separation so you can actually see some depth in it. You can see some shadows and some highlights while not actually changing the color of the hair and making it look like purple hair or white hair, which are basically your two options, is super tricky. And he's done a really good job just to tread the line and get the right level of shading to give it the depth it needs without changing the color. Super dig it. I actually really dig the highlights on the red, the cloak, especially the kind of most of the upper bits where it kind of goes that little bit orangey and you can see some kind of texture throughout it as well. Super cool. And then to keep the white highlights, they pop out super groovy, but to keep the rest of the model relatively neutral, so your blacks, your greys, and there's not really a lot of color, so it's not even like it's a real bluey grey or a greeny grey or anything. It's pretty kind of neutral. Just like you see the red, and the rest of the model you can read, you can see those kind of white highlights, you can see that kind of thing, but it gives a real feel. It doesn't take away from the model. You're not trying to sort of throw in a whole bunch of rainbow colors to balance it out. I love painting, like Infinity models are actually super fun to paint just because there is the detail, there is the crispness, there is the cleanness, but what that's let him do is things like the effect on the gun and that kind of, yes, there's that kind of camo effect down the barrel of it, but there's still these really clear reflection points or kind of where the edge highlights are hitting and all that kind of jam as well. So I really dig it. And look, the other thing that's super hard to do is paint black. And he's hit a really good balance between highlighting black and not making or keeping it looking black, because often that means it looks grey or it looks blue or it looks any one of these other colours. But he's given it enough that you can see the highlights in the black, especially on her legs and around her knee. But it still looks like a black pair of pants. It doesn't look like a grey or a blue or whatever. Super cool. And then just
really does.
Yeah. I also just random, spot color, just a little bit of oxide on the base. Just there's one little spot where it's just
I noticed that.
Like, yeah, here's the rusty bit. Dig it. It's just something else to draw. You like, again, you start noticing that there's other stuff happening around it. I also really dig the fact that he's clearly taken that photo on a piece of terrain or something, so it's actually given us an action shot, a little bit of a kind of real life. And the same again, he paints red well, because looking at the back of the shoulder and the cape and everything, where it's just highlights are just bang on. It's just smooth. Everything is there. The shadows are in the right spot. It's like you've done this before.
I think we've talked about Infinity before, and I mean, you've played briefly.
Yeah.
I've talked about how I've never found an Infinity model that I really digged.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at this one, I really like this model. Like, I'm not sure if it's the model itself or if it's just what Shane's done to it. It's a really cool piece. Yep. It's an action pose. She looks like she's the leader of a gang.
Yep. Buys in. And actually, I know we've said the white pops, but to throw white and to get it reading white and to get it clear and crisp over any other color actually takes some effort, because it's not necessarily an easy thing to cover with. And it's just super crisp. It's just super clean. It's just there. It's happy days. Dig the model choice. Definitely think, agree. It looks like the leader of, and it's kind of got that kind of almost Firefly kind of feel to it.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. The trench coat type thing. Yeah, no. Really dig it. Really, really like it. Moving on, Lachlan is the next entry, and he has done an Emperor's Children model. Now, I'm very disappointed that this is the only Emperor's Children entry that we got, because they are by far my favorite of the Chaos chapters.
If it's only one Emperor's Children model, is it an Emperor's Child?
Well, that's literally what I've got written down here, and then I read that in my head before I said it, and I'm like, that seems silly.
Yeah, no, I wrote down Emperor's Child. Yeah.
That's
what I've done.
Emperor's Children, the coolest. With the sound marines. I love sound marines, noise marines. Like, as you can tell from our episodes on Black Crusade that I've been playing one. But this model, it's really simple and really well done. Yep. It's got this sort of perfect blend between the purple pink and the highlighting on this model was just incredible. Even like on the armor, on the face, but there's highlighting on the number on the shoulder pad, which I just dig. Like, if it was me, that would be a yellow 3, not a yellow with like shading on the 3. The weathering on the shoulder as well, in particular, I noticed, and the eagle in the chest, like that's got to be hand painted, because I don't think that's on the model. I could be mistaken, but it's a simple model. Like the pose and even the base is it's a simple effect, but it's done so well. It just pops. Even like the dirt coming off the model, of the base of the model onto the feet. But for me, what really stuck out was the weathering. The white line down the shoulder pads are not white lines. They're chipped and scratched, and all sorts of details on this model that I could not begin to think about doing. And the eyes with the green just really make them stand out. I was really impressed with this one.
Yeah, stop stealing my notes, firstly.
Sorry.
Second,
I'll just stop talking in general, shall I?
I mean, do us all a favour, but no, look, yes, is the long story short. So notes, things I had is the difference between there's this kind of really smooth gradient of this kind of bluey purple right through to the pink highlights that you can kind of see, but then over the top of that is this textured element where you can see some scratches, some dings, some dents, and all this kind of jazz. Yes, there is some edge highlights, but what I love about this, because the thing that frustrates me with edge highlights is when they're everywhere and they're all the same, and they're all the same weight and the same strength and the same intensity, and it doesn't make sense. They're just in the right spots, and they're the right strength and the right weight, and they don't necessarily look like you've just done edge highlights everywhere. It's a place that would catch light and reflect because it's an edge. So he's just hit all the right points in that regard. The fact that you have got all this kind of textural little nooks and crannies and dings and bumps and all that kind of stuff that just creates this level of interest on what would be otherwise really boring ass marine armor, because it's marine armor. It's just like a big flat space. I really like the kind of 30K aesthetic with the little rivets and the silver, which again just creates this real point of hard definition between armor panels and that kind of jazz, which is super cool. But you're right, this shines when you start talking about the fact that there is an eagle on that chest, and I'm not sure whether it's decal or freehand. I'm pretty sure it's not on the model. And then over that, you've got this chipping that's happened to it to make it like look like part of the armor, because regardless of whether it's a decal or freehand, a lot of it looks freshly painted on, like you've walked out of the bloody nail salon. And the same with the arm. You've got these white stripes down the arm, and they've just got the right amount of, like, they look like it was painted on and then he went to battle.
Mm-hmm.
And it just fits the rest of the model so well. And it creates this real sense of space and time. You can see when he got his armor, what his armor looked like then, what's happened since, and where he's at now. The other one I really dig, and I'm pretty sure this is freehand, is the little kind of lines, the white mascara lines under his eyes.
That was going to be my next point. Absolutely. Like, I've never. I mean, I don't spend an awful lot of time looking at 40k armies, but I've never seen anyone do that. And it makes it pop. It stands out. I got to stop saying pop.
The green of the lenses was inspired, like that is just the correct color choice. To really make those lenses stand out. That was 100% bang on. But then to throw, so you've kind of got this real black line, and then you've got this white kind of mascara bottom line on it. I'm going to call it mascara because they're Emperor's Children. They would appreciate that.
Yes.
But even then, it's crisp when it should be. So you've kind of got the line, and then you've got the little kind of extra accent off it, which is, it looks like a square finish, and that would have been really hard to pull off, to make that look like a square line and not just like it trailed off with a little kind of brush stroke kind of deal. But as well, there's a little bit of chipping in there. There's a little bit of imperfection where something's been hit with some shrapnel or something. I don't know. It's, again, not an afterthought that's added to the model and looks fresh. It's added, it's blended in, it's got all the right character at the right time. The fact that he's got a little bit of scratch on the leather little bags around his belt, it is really, really simple model, simple space, simple pose, simple color scheme, but just turned up to 11. In all the right ways.
And he's an emperor's child or children. He's an emperor's dude. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Well played.
All right. Last official entry we had was Robert's Undead Knight. Now, this model, he'd posted up a couple of progress pics earlier on in the piece, and something about this model just really grabbed me. I love the pose. I love the story that this model is saying. The way that he's done it, so that the flames underneath the horse look spot on to me. The ribs on the horse sort of poking through what's left of the skin. You can see the ribs. You can see the difference in the skin that he's painted on. I love the hourglass and I love the blue, but to me, I'm not too sure. Like, this is just me reading too much in, but it looked to me like the hourglass was on the wrong way. Like, it looks like this sand should be the other way around, but that's just me. And is in no way a criticism of the effort that he's done here. But the cloak itself, with the shading of the pink, and then recreating that on the sword, I really dig this model. I really dig what he's done. It's sort of, it's a darker style for the pink. Like, the pink's almost, it's not quite going to a purple. It's more going to almost a black at the end, but still keeps that pink aspect. And the other thing I couldn't quite work out, because I don't know the model that well, is that a skull or a mask or a bit of both? Because it just looks incredible. It looks like it could be a skull, but at the same time it looks like it's
I'm pretty sure it's helmet.
Yep.
Like, and the kind of wings are joined to it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably skull in there, but no, I'm pretty sure it's metal. It's helmet. It's kind of, an ethereal
I
face.
really like this model. I really like what he's done with it. He's taken the pink of the, we said paint it pink, and he's put that in, but all the colors work really well for me. The black, the blacky blue of the horse over the bones, and it's the white bones too. It's that color bone that I really struggled for a long time to be able to paint, when most of my bones were like that creamy,
yellow, creamy, beigey kind of, yeah.
I really like this model when he started putting progress shots up, and once it's done, I really like it even more.
Yeah.
Even the sword as well, just sort of has that hint of blue, on it, which grabs me.
Because, I mean, you look at that model, and the easy out is you paint the fire pink. And you just paint the rest of the model normally, and success. So I feel like he hasn't taken the easy out here at all, which I really, really appreciate. And the fact that you have still got this kind of orangey yellow fire, just adding an extra textural element to it, I really dig. But the pink element, which is that kind of mauvey purple to black through to the kind of brighter pink that he's done, which is super smooth over the length of that cloak. And then he's gone through and added the extra highlights and the kind of edges and the really kind of high areas that you can see. Super cool. Just creates, again, that real kind of ghostly feel. Like it feels like one of the physical material bits in parts, and then it feels like this real wispy, ghosty kind of, I don't know, is it real, is it not kind of feel, which I really dig. Replicating that on the sword was, I again would not have thought of, and I think that's inspired. And the piece that gets me is that real hard edge kind of highlight he's got up the center of the blade that's almost white, but goes through and calls out that real kind of, bluey, purpley, mauvey color all the way through to that pink tip. It makes it seem like an important part of the model. Like, yeah, cool, he's waving a sword around, he's kind of look like an undead William Wallace, but it's all of a sudden it's got, the sword has importance. It's not just a symbol. It's like this thing can actually do some damage. It's important. The fact that the horse is, this really kind of muted bluey grey. The bone is there. It's this really kind of nice bleached white bone. There's all these different colours in there. The horns are kind of a bronzier, brownier one. The metal has this kind of bluey grey tinge to it. Like it means that everything's there, but then the bits that you want to grab attention, that cloak, the bit that is kind of that ethereal section of the model, the sword, the flames, the horse just supports, it just kind of lets the rest of the model lift, and it just does the right amount of not grabbing attention, but being super cool when you start looking at it and you can see the ribs under the skin. That kind of coolness. I'm trying to get your point around the hourglass.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me. I'm trying to work out, if you were on a horse, how gravity would work. And it might just be that, I mean, I can't really... Oh, I can zoom on it here. But from the picture, at least, it looks like the blue is coming up on the right-hand side. Whereas my dumb brain thinks that maybe it should be coming down from the left.
Okay, so we are. I mean, suppose the other issue that we're dealing with here is the fact that the horse is rearing.
Yeah,
which changes the angles of everything.
See, I knew that I would mention this because I knew that you would give me reasons.
Yes. So all the angles change because the horse is rearing, but also this guy is just riding the winds of fucking magic, so his hourglass could go any fucking way. I don't know.
Or it might be like my hourglass and not actually work at all.
That's why your Blood Bowl timer never runs out. Anyway, I actually really like the hourglass just from the fact that he's gone blue with that, which kind of references that kind of
it harkens
darker
back to the
mauvey
sword.
purple, but different enough. And it doesn't, again, it's not highlighted to the same level, so it doesn't take away. You're still looking at the sword. It's just one of those kind of little moments that you find. Like the green on the base as well that he's added. Again, it doesn't draw your attention. You don't really, it's not the thing that you focus on, but it's just a nice little happy find that you come to. So again, it's not the approach I would take, which I love. Just in different kind of thoughts and ways to do different things. The fact that it's not the easy out, the fact that you've then just gone, I'm not just going to have the pink, but I'm actually going to make a feature of it. It's not just one thing, but it's actually kind of a common theme across the model. Now you've got the cloak and the sword. And then just to hit the right balance of darkness and this kind of, dark, scary, grim kind of horse model metals with these super kind of bright elements of the pink on the cloak, the flames on the horse, that kind of thing. It hits the right balance. I really love that.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's a common theme throughout the competition. Every one of these entries, I just really love what people have done here. And it makes me insanely jealous that they have this sort of skill. But just thank you, everyone, for your entries, and thank you for gracing us with these incredible models. We did have one final picture uploaded from Dave, who was, as he said, a little bit late, but he wanted to put up a picture of how far he'd gotten with his, which is a Malifaux showgirl. Now, I love this model. I love the color scheme that he's got with this. It's got purple in there as well, which I think I've said already is a win for me as well. But the line work's really crisp. The color, it tells a story and it looks really cool. I really can't wait. Send us pictures, Dave, when you finish, because I really can't wait to see what she looks like finished. Now, you know a little bit about Malifaux, Jace.
Just a touch, yeah.
This particular model, is that tentacles coming out from underneath the skirt?
I don't believe so, no. So these showgirls, and I've just lost the model, damn it. There it is.
Be very cool.
No,
if it was.
No, the showgirl, they are legitimately just showgirls.
Okay,
Sorry
cool.
to disappoint. It's probably ruffles or petticoat or some shit.
Fair enough. Because they're not Neverborn, so it makes sense that it's not tentacles, but
yeah, they're magic-y. It could be something. Yeah, that would be a little bit octopus-wire though. I don't. Anyway, I really like the color scheme on this one, and I like the fact that it ties into the kind of, the base is done, which is that kind of worn kind of wood effect, but it gives, it's kind of early film feel, like that kind of sepia tone on the base. And I feel like all of the model, what it really does really, really well is hit a really natural color scheme. Well, it's still vibrant, it still pops, it's still, all those things, but it kind of, you believe that this would be a color that would be around in what is basically a Victorian steam, it's that steampunky era, so it's that Victorian English kind of place. It's plausible, but it's still bright enough to be interesting, and it's got, the different layers and everything. But that pink is not super bright, neon, over the top pink.
Because that wouldn't suit.
It wouldn't look realistic. Like, it might look cool, but it wouldn't look. But this actually hits in the same way that the skin tone is this really kind of pale alabaster. You could see that this is where they would take the makeup to, because that would be the desired look at the time. So I feel like it's hitting all the right points in just its placement. It hits this really, and the Malifaux models aren't big, so they can be a bit challenging to paint, but I feel like what he's at least starting with is this really kind of accurate replication of the era in which the model would be in. And I think it's super cool. Like, it looks like a showgirl that would be on a stage back in those times.
And yeah, I've said it before. I'll say it again, and I'll repeat it ad infinitum. I hate hair, and that even that curl that he's managed to paint on the face, it's just
that ain't a big face either. That's a little bitty face.
So good. Yeah, please, Dave, send us pics when you're done, because really interested in seeing how she finishes up.
Yep, super cool.
And that is it. So, shall we call it a night there?
Done.
All right, cool. Thanks very much for listening. No, I think we're forgetting something, are we?
Oh, we've got to do, events and stuff.
Events, that's it.
Well, we're not running one, so that's pretty much a null and void.
Look, like I said, we appreciate everybody's input. Everybody has done such a bang-up, fantastic job. I'd like to give a last place prize to the Blood Bowl Ogres, because I think they were easily the worst ones here. Really, really impressed. Thank you very much for joining us on this little adventure. We do have a couple of prizes, and they were graciously donated by Jace. So we will... We struggled a bit to find... This is not necessarily the best, but the most worthy. Does that make sense? I'm struggling to word it properly, because, we wanted to see pink used well. We wanted to see it in different ways, and that was always the focus of this paint competition. What we got were 10 incredibly painted submissions. So we've got a couple of prizes. We would love to be able to give prizes to everybody, but we have narrowed it down just a tad.
Just a wee bit. Look, and as we said, the judging criteria is loose, to say the least. It was basically like, how do you feature pink? Is that cool? And you jerks all did it amazingly well, which made it infinitely harder. So we've tried to pick out a few that just did super cool things that just we didn't expect, or that we were just super impressed with. It just went, that features the color, it hits the theme, and it does something special.
Exactly.
So it's always hard. I don't know whether it's just for you, but just to go, all right, these are the ones we're giving prizes to, because as you said, I would love to give prizes to everyone, because I feel like everyone deserves.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose,
as pretty much all of these prizes have been donated by Jace, that would be a huge effort on his part.
Yeah, and look, you guys don't want me rifling through the other stuff I have. It's probably not worth it. So hopefully, everyone sort of appreciates that, we would love to give you all prizes. I think, firstly, we're both, I will speak for both of us because I choose to. But it's super humbling to throw something like this up and actually have people get involved and be interested and just put the effort and time that you guys have into it. So, we're going to have to keep doing things like this, just because we love seeing what you guys are putting out. We throw out a stupid idea like, hey, throw pink on a model, guys, and you guys come out with this, and it's amazing. So super humbling, and thanks again. But we do have some stuff to give people, so let's give it to people so they can go to bed.
Yes, so that we can go to bed.
They're not listening to it in real time. They don't necessarily have to go to bed. You don't have to finish this episode and go to bed. That's not a rule. I'm sorry. We're not your mother. Except for you, Malachi. You probably should be going to bed right now.
No matter what the time. So yeah, we had pretty much we decided after a lot of discussion that we would have 3 prizes plus an encouragement prize. So not necessarily as good as the other prizes, but still we wanted to give somebody something extra who just didn't quite make it into that top 3 for us. So for the encouragement prize, we have decided to give it to Lauren for the Age of Sigmar / Underworld's Banshee.
Yeah. Super impressed. So, I mean, and again, it was just that piece of going subtle but such important differences that you've managed to throw in everywhere. I want to see more of them. So we wanted to encourage that. I'd be keen to see how a unit of these suckers looks on an Age of Sigmar table or something like that. So awesome effort. Thank you yet again for entering. And we will fling some stuff your way. We'll get in contact.
Yeah, all of these people, we will get in contact with you. We'll send it your way, post it out to you, and hopefully you've enjoyed your time with the pinkening, and you'll join us again on another adventure.
And then
you looked like you were about to say something.
I don't know what I was going to say. This is usual. No, I had that moment where I'm like, what's the past tense of pink? Is it punk? Is it
pank?
Yeah, possibly. To be continued. Let's get back to the point of giving people stuff.
Okay. All right. So next prize. I don't know if you want to call it third place. I think we just call it prize number 1. We want to give to Lachlan for the Emperor's Child Ren model.
The Children.
The Children.
I love it. Yes. The Emperor's
Grogu. Like we said, the if this was me, those lines would be attempted to be nice and crisp and all the rest of it. But the weathering, the shading, the highlighting on this piece just really blew me away. And it was bits and pieces here and there. And then, as soon as I noticed that 3 on his shoulder had shadows on it, and then the more you look at that model, the more stuff that you can see that he's done.
Yeah, it is one of those. It's like a Where's Wally. You just keep looking and finding other little bits. It's crazy. So awesome effort. I super dig it. I hope there's more of them. I'd again like to see squad shots or army shots or something. Tell me that is floating around a tournament somewhere.
Oh God, it would have to win like first place painting, because like if you went to that much effort on your whole army.
Yeah.
Like, that would be an insane amount of work.
That is crazy good. Anyhow.
Next prize number 2, second place, whatever you want to call it. I'm
going to call it Deborah.
All right. The Deborah prize. And this is now going to be a thing ongoing in all competitions that we do. There will be a Deborah. But the winner of the inaugural Deborah is Joel for his Goliath ganger. I think I've just broken Jace. That pink lighting effect, the crisp, simple but so effective design of the model itself, really, really impressive. And it was the model that had, for me at least, it had the most unusual or unexpected use of pink.
Really quickly, the short form of Deborah.
Deb?
Or Debbie? Does this mean we're giving him Debbie's pink bit? Does this make Joel Dallas?
No. No,
Um,
Joel,
sorry, and that's what broke me. I'm sorry. That's how my brain works. It's not my fault. The
Joel,
piece.
we are going to send you a prize, and we want you to do it. Joel,
Oh
dude,
my god,
Debbie.
this
No,
hurts me.
you're
No,
the
look,
one
the
that came
piece.
up with this.
I know, but that's I shouldn't be encouraged. You know this. The piece, we talked about Lachlan's piece and the kind of the technicality and the kind of pieces that you keep seeing as you see it. I think the thing that got me with Joel's was just it wasn't just it was just a model painted on a base. Absolutely, literally, that is what is there. But
That's what we asked for.
That is
models.
what you see when you look at it is so much more. There is this real sense of this model or this character exists inside a world, and we're actually seeing inside that world, and using the pink in this instance as the lighting effect to start creating a sense of atmosphere was just a really cool idea. I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you took the approach you did to actually paint the model basically straight and then add it as an after effect. Yeah, really, really, really cool. And just a different look at the whole concept to everyone else. So
yeah,
that's
really cool idea, really well executed. And for that, you get Debbie. So if number 2 is called Debbie or Deborah, what are we calling number 1? It reminds me. There's this.
The Ron Jeremy Award goes to.
There's an interview where somebody has interviewed all the Marvel actors from the MCU, and the question that was been asked is, "What's the name of Thor's hammer?" And so you've got all these people trying to pronounce Mjolnir, if that's even close to how you pronounce it. And then you've got Paul Rudd, and he's just gone, Jeffrey? So, yeah, look, we've been rambling on long enough. Let's cut to the chase. Number 1, and I hope that there's absolutely no doubt in anyone's mind, but we're going to have to give this to Alice. The effort that she's gone to, ignoring the fact that she's been painting less than a year, the blending between the colors, the pastels, the effort that has gone into this model from design to finish is just, it blows my mind.
And like that piece where it's like, oh, I'm going to enter this competition. Here's the model I bought for the competition. People shouldn't buy things because of, we should enable their purchases because they want them for their hobby, but don't buy them because of us. I'm not prepared for that level of responsibility.
You have a child.
I have two. But that's not the point. That's different. But yeah, just the level, the effort, the time, the use, the different colors, the different take on everything, the fact that you actually put little bloody gems on the base hurts my soul in all the right places. It was one of those pieces we looked at and just went, no, this needs a thing. This needs you have stuff. Please take stuff.
Look, it was a hard call for me and from the get-go because you've probably listened to a couple of our episodes. You know that Alice is a friend of the show. And, she's one of our Patreons. But I just couldn't. I made Jace make the decision, the final decision. And it was just, for me, Alice's one was just incredible. And hurts me how good it is. And I don't want to put it next to one of mine.
It can live at her house, and yours can live at your house. And
well, yeah, you know what I mean. I don't even want to look at them.
You don't have to put it next to yours.
I don't want to see a picture of it on the computer when I've got my models in front of me. That's what I'm saying.
So only look at pictures of it when you're not in your house? I don't know.
Oh, for fuck.
No, look,
Go back to Deborah.
I said this whole piece, it was just, you start looking at the blends not only through like value between one color, but actually bouncing through 3 or 4 colors on the wings. Like, that's silly. Stop it. But then it was just pieces like you start throwing in colors like I wouldn't have even thought to use, like the yellow on the edge highlighter on the wings, which just, I don't know why it works. I don't even understand that, but it was just, I would never have thought of it, and it works so bloody well. The fact that the model actually has so many other colors in it, but reads pink, I think I really loved just the absolute scale of it. Bitch,
And
it's
it's
huge.
not a small model either.
No, he's big. And it was just, even things like the sides of the wings. I'm just like, who even thinks of that? That is genius. No, it was too impressive not to give things to, and I will fight anyone who tells me otherwise.
I will pay to see that fight.
It would be short. My fitness is not where it needs to be. Like, anyway,
getting old and flabby, my friend.
Oh,
look, again, I really want to thank everybody who has entered or even just listened to us ramble for the last God knows how much, 2.5 hours or whatever we're up to. Really appreciate everybody getting involved. I also want to thank Jace for handing over some prizes for this. Hope you guys that one will be happy. But I also want to say that we really want to run more of these. Better than this. We want to run giveaways more often. We want to run competitions more often. We do have a Patreon set up exactly for that reason. We want the money that our Patreons give us to go into prizes and stuff that we can give back to you guys. We are not very far off the only goal that I set when I set it up, which was to be able to run competitions.
Is this the bikini episode?
Mankini. Yep. We'll be doing that on YouTube in the next day. We're not far off having the rougher amount that I set to be able to give away stuff pretty much every month, which would be great. And the more support that people give us, the more we can put in and have things like this, have bigger, better prizes, run competitions, run giveaways, and just give back to you guys for putting up with our shit for X amount of hours of your life that we have effectively wasted.
It wasn't effective. Like, we haven't achieved anything, but we have managed to waste it. We have.
I mean, it's not our intention, but we've definitely done it. So thank you. If you want to get on board and join the Patreon, Jason put the link in the show notes. We appreciate everything, and even if you can't join the Patreon just by listening, we really appreciate it. And hopefully, to all those that entered, hopefully we've done your models justice, because they were honestly all so incredible, and it made judging very difficult.
Yeah, I don't know why we keep doing this to ourselves. Yeah.
No. So what we can do next time is run a painting competition and then just do a random number generator. Maybe we'll do it that way.
I was going to outsource the judging, but that's also good.
Oh, yeah, we could do that. Anyway, that's it for the competition. If is not the word, ignore that. It's late. We've been talking for long. Is there anything on that you want to plug, Chase?
I don't know. I think it's actually reasonably quiet. I know now, thankfully, we are allowed kind of locally at least to do some stuff. I know Throw the Dice is organising a whole bunch of events, including his first year store championships, which he's doing for a couple of different systems. I think Lord of the Rings, 40k, Infinity, maybe a few of those. Where he basically wants to crown a store champion. Before,
rock, paper, scissors.
After this, we could be in with this shot. I also know he's put together a sneaky little Enforcer Brawl night for this Friday when you listen to this.
Well, depending on when you listen to us. From when we record, it's this Friday.
From when I publish this, I assume you all listen to it at the instant it comes out. That's how this works, right? The important thing for us is stuff is starting to happen again, and you can get involved and just go play some goals, do stuff.
Go support the local hobby store. Help them out because they are helping us out by giving us a place to play, giving us stock that we can add to our piles of shame. But everything they do to help us,
they do it for you.
Hobby. They do. They really do.
Everything they do.
Yeah, write that down. That's it from me. Thank you very much again. If you haven't already, give us a follow on Facebook, Spotify, Podbean, Twitch. I did run a Twitch session the other night where I did play a bit of Aero. So if you want to see what that's about, the video should be up. And like I said, if you can and want to, you can join us on Patreon and help us give back to you guys.
Awesome. Again, thanks to everyone for entering. It was amazing. I love being able to run these things and just seeing what you people do. It's the best. We'll shut up now. You're welcome.
Laters.
Gotcha.
Gaming.